Alright. Yeah, you're live. Ain't nobody. Ain't showing no viewers yet. Oh, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 6, 13.
Hey everybody, I want to give some time to let some people get on and everything. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry about tonight. I was going to do it at 8 o'clock, but then I remembered that it's my children at Bel Air's open house, so I had to go to the open house. And education is important to my children. So, like I said, I'm just going to give some time and stuff. What I want to say is, first of all, I went down and to the sheriff's office. They called me today. They told me they had the 2 tapes that I had been requesting. I went down there to get the tapes from them. And as on my way home, we were playing them. And they're not actually the other 2 tapes that are missing that I've been asking for. Hopefully they find those and that they will let me have those, and then I'll be able to let everybody hear those 2 tapes. But they did give me 1 tape, and it is the mother, Mary Ann, who me and her two-waying back and forth, and we're carrying a conversation. And she talks about the fire and stuff, and some other things too. There is one part when we get to that. Like I said, the tape's got some stuff on it that were broken up here and there. So I had to find certain parts and play them and everything. But to let everyone know that these are true tapes, I will show you here. This is, it says right here by the sheriff's office, it says Mary Ann, November 15, 2007 is when we had this conversation. This is one of the tapes they gave me. And if you can see right here, the sheriff's office put a number 6 on the tape. And so I wanted everyone to see that tape and that it was a real tape from the sheriff's office. This is a receipt from the sheriff's office that they made me sign today. And you can see here they have, it says me, Memorex DBS cassette tape number 7. And then they say DDK D90 cassette tape with the number 6 right there. So just to show you that these tapes are legit, here's where the Mr. Detective Captain McFarland signed it. Here's where I signed it today, that they released these 2 tapes to me. So just to prove that, you know, I didn't go and make up some tape or something like that, because I know how some of the viewers on other pages like to say the wrong thing about what I'm doing and stuff and everything else. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to put one of the tapes in. First of all, everybody that's watching this, if you can, please let me know that you can hear me, that you can hear and see what's going on.
I can hear you. I can hear you. They've been talking.
Everybody can hear me?
Yeah. Anyway, it's good.
Hello out there. Can everybody hear me? Can please somebody say yes?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play the tape. I'm going to pause it here and there because there's certain things in my folders and stuff that I want to show that contradicts what she says. So I'm going to go ahead and play the first tape on one side of the tape, and so you all can hear it. And I hope, let me know if you can't hear it. With me, and it ain't got nothing to do with me and you getting back together. A few minutes with me, but you can't spend time with me, but you're in a hurry to get back to where you were supposed to take my boys. Then on top of that, you take them somewhere else. You don't even contact me and tell me that you're taking them somewhere else. You meet up with your boyfriend, and then on top of that, then you take them out to Kenny's work.
Look, I'm not going to sit and argue with you. I don't have a boyfriend. You did all of a sudden you down an awful lot of life because I don't have a boyfriend. I've got a friend. I work with a gentleman who has kids. I have a friend, and that is it. I also have female friends that have kids that I work with. We went to Burger King instead of Magic Mountain because they had a big birthday party, had it booked, and it was so full. And I was not going to take the kids in there and try to fight through that crowd. Point blank. And I told the kids the exact same thing. And I told them I'd make it up to them when they came back for the next visit, if there was going to be one. So, and I did not tell the boys, and you can ask Karen. I didn't tell them to lie to you about Kenny. I said exactly on the way home. I said, as soon as you tell your dad, I took you by to see Kenny. Really. But there he doesn't even lie about it. Why would I tell them to lie? I did not do anything wrong. He did not do anything to the kids. Nothing was done. He spent a whole 5, at most 10 minutes with them, and we left. So no, that's not why we were late. We were late because of the accident, which was on the way home, way past leaving his work.
I know, but you knew already before you left my work you were going to go see Kenny, so why didn't you tell me you were going to go see Kenny?
I did say I had to go by his work. I did say I had money. He owed me money. I said, standing right here with you. And you cannot sit there and say I didn't. I said, we're going by to pick up money. He owes me money, and I am going to get my money tonight. Remember that conversation?
Yeah, I remember that conversation, but I don't think you said tonight, though, you were going to go see him tonight to get your money.
Yes, I did, because that was exactly what I asked him when he was cussing and carrying on and everything else. I said, I'm still coming down to take the money up, and that's what I told you when you said, well, I don't know why you're so worried about why you're talking to him. Are you all right? And I said, I'm fine. I'm going. I've got appointments. I've got plans, which is exactly what I said and exactly what I did. And I'm going to go pick my money up. Like I said, I've told you standing right there in your car, you're not going to control me. He's not going to control me. I'm going to talk. If I want to talk to Chris, I'll talk to Chris. If I want to talk to David, I'll talk to David. I'm an adult. Nobody's going to tell me that I can't talk to this guy or I can't talk to that guy. Your kids will not ever be around anybody that will jeopardize them or that will hurt them. And I would never turn them loose around anybody that would hurt them. So you don't have to worry about that.
That ain't what I'm talking about. I don't care who you see. I don't care. I don't care who you're with. I don't care what you do. I don't care about any of that. The only thing I told you from the beginning of this was if you wanted to see your boys, I had no problem with that. And I wanted to know what happened to my daughter. That was the only thing I ever talked to you about.
Yeah, as soon as you found out that the boys seen Kenny, you're all pissed off and I'm not going to see the boys anymore and everything else. Like I said, it has nothing to do with who I'm seeing. It's a fight. You don't care who I'm seeing or any of that to them. Why do you care if Kenny's here? If Kenny's not here, all of a sudden it's okay for me to see the boys and everything else. Then all of a sudden I take the boys to see Kenny and he spends a whole 10 minutes with them and you're done and they're not allowed to be around me and everything else again. So it is Kenny and it is fighting. That's what I'm saying. That's something you're going to have to let go of and you're going to have to get over.
No, because let me tell you something. As long as it is considered an arson and a homicide on my daughter, and they believe that Kenny is probably behind it, or William is, I don't want my kids around them.
Well, they don't believe Kenny or William is. They were both cleared, just like you were, with the lie detector test and all of that. Everybody was cleared. That's why they are on standstill and have nowhere to go, because it was not an arson, because they don't.
All right, so now you heard from the mother right there. She said they were all cleared, that every one of them passed the lie detector test. Now, we all know that I have showed that the brother right here, William, did not pass that lie detector test. And matter of fact, William Potter failed it not once, but he also failed it twice. And I showed that on my other live feed. And right there, she just said that her brother William and them passed the lie detector test. And I will show again real quick. Right here is where William took a lie detector test on May 17, 2006, and he failed. And right here he took it again. They brought him in and re-questioned him again. And on May 22nd, 2006, he failed it again. So I just want to point out there's one lie that the mother has told already.
Someone else who's William.
William is Mary Ann's brother. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the tape and you guys go back listening. And like I said, I'm going to pause everything and show you on some contradicting of her own stories.
Know what they're doing, because everybody that could have possibly done anything, passed lie detector test, and everybody is cleared. So now they have no suspects whatsoever. They don't know what to do with the case.
Okay, well, if everybody's cleared, then why in the world then? And you said a few nights ago about the dog being in the house, that there was no possible way anybody could get out. How in the world then did that fire start inside the house with splash patterns?
I've told you. I've been explained all of that to you, and I'm not going to sit and go through it and argue with you over and over and over again. It's done been explained to you, Rick. I don't know what else you want me to do. I mean, there's absolutely no winning with you whatsoever. If you are not 100% in control of my life and what I'm doing, then you've got issues. And so, you're not 100% in control. Now, here we go again. I'm not going to see the boys. The only people you're hurting is them boys, because them boys had a good time, and them boys are telling you exactly what you want to hear. You want them to say, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to be around this. No, I don't. They don't want to be in the middle of that. Just like if I told them that I didn't want them with you because Kim was there, I would never do that. And that would break their heart because they think the world of her. I would never ask them to choose her or me. And that's what you are asking your boys to do. You are asking your boys to choose the man in my life for you. And it shouldn't be that way. They should be able to have you as a dad and still be able to enjoy spending time with me and my significant other.
See, that's where you're on misunderstanding me, because like I said, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're trying to tell me that sheriff department down there don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they're going to sit there. These are professional people that know everything about an arson, and you've already told me how this fire supposedly started with kerosene heaters, and you're going to tell me that they're stupid and everything else, but then I still got them, professional people, telling me, no, Mr. Branham, it is an arson. It is a homicide.
Professional people that have no clue whatsoever to go on. None whatsoever. Professional people that thought it was arson and thought it was started with kerosene or whatever, and did not once check the fuel in Kenny's truck to see if it matched the pattern, right? Because he had a diesel truck sitting right there by the house. If they thought he done it and all of that, and it was leading his way, why wouldn't they have taken the diesel out of his truck and tested it? Because it had nothing to do with diesel. It was 100% kerosene that was used. Because that was the only splash pattern they found was kerosene from the kerosene heaters that I burned. Over and over and over again. You keep telling me how professional they are, yet you wrote 100 letters about him in complaint.
I never wrote no letter to them or about them or anything. The only person I ever did anything with was State's Attorney General's office, and that was because you had me investigated on $1,400.
The way I understand it, you have made a complaint on the fire marshal and Fayette County Sheriff's Department. I mean, according to them, you've wrote letters as the law do and complained about all of them, and they don't know how to do their job and everything else. Now, I guess this is the professionals you're talking about. They're lying, right?
When's the last time you ever talked to Detective Ralph?
About 2 months ago.
And what was it about?
I was calling every month and checking to see where the leads were and where things were going. And like I said, according to him,
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. She said that she had contacted the sheriff's office every month after that fire happened. And I can tell you right now, Detective Brown, before he passed away, said he only spoke to Mary Ann one time. And also, the fire marshal only spoke to her 2 times. And BCI's only spoke to her once. So she has never called about the case. Ryan McFarland's been on this case for 4 years now, and he has not even talked to none of them on that side of the family at all. He don't even know who Mary Ann is, other than what he's read in the case files and stuff. And Vernon Stanford also said that he's only talked to Mary Ann one time, and that was the night of the fire. And that's when he told her that Mackenzie was dead. So I wanted to clear that one up too. That she said that she's called every month, and checked in on the case and all that. That is a bold lie. So I'm going to go ahead and play some more.
Talk to him because he done put you in your place a couple of times, and you wrote letters and complaints and wanted to have him removed from the case and everything else, and you wrote letters and complained about the fire marshal. Like I said, you must be making that stuff up, right?
Where are you getting your information from? Him?
That's
Oh, you're going to tell me Detective Brown told you that I wanted him removed off the force?
That's exactly what he said. You have wrote complaints telling him about him saying he don't know how to do his job. You want him removed from the case. You wrote complaints about the fire marshal. You call the fire marshal all the time. Yes, that's exactly what he said. His word, 100%. I say.
Okay, then why are they still considering this an arson then?
You know what, if I had the answer to that question, I'd have the answer to all of them, wouldn't I, Rick? I just told you, you stand in your garage the other day, the only way it's ever going to be solved is if you can find the money to pay for a high-dollar private investment.
I'm going to pause it right there. If you heard what she said, just like I told you in the garage. And what I want to explain to everybody is that's the two other tapes that we haven't heard yet that I'm trying to get from the sheriff's office. One was at my job where me and her talked about the fire, and the other one was in my garage, and that's the other tape. So hopefully they find those and you can hear not only this story, but you'll hear two more from the mother. And like I said, none of the stories add up. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play again.
I want to come in and look at all the evidence, because all they did is did a real quick look at the evidence. They looked at the fact that there was kerosene splashes on the floor or whatever, and that was it. It was automatic arson. They can't tell me what happened to the heater. I lived in the fucking house. I know the fucking heater was there. So if they can't explain that, they can't even find a date that there was no smoke detectors. There were 2 smoke detectors in that house. Batteries might not have been working. That was my mistake. But there was smoke detectors in that house. So how do they not have signs of these things if they're professionals?
All right, I'm going to pause it right there again. She said that there were smoke detectors in the house, and as she's talking about those smoke detectors in her house, she said there was. And I'm going to find it right here. Okay, and this is a signed affidavit from Mary Ann's sister that she did under oath, right here under oath. And if you can see right here, it is an affidavit, State of Ohio, Fayette County. Here's what the sister made comments on. Here's her signature, Amanda K. Potter. Here's the date, 9th of October 2008. And here's where it was signed by the Notary Public and Michael Barr, which was also a attorney. And I'm going to read her statement. And right here, it says, right here, number 14. There were no smoke detectors in the house at 7 Maple Street. As I had been inside the house prior to the fire, I did notice an area on the ceiling that appeared to show the outline where a smoke detector had been at one time, but had been removed. So I just want to let you know, this is her sister that has been in that house plenty of times before that fire. So I just wanted to clear that part up too.
I don't know. But, okay, then explain. Somebody said there was kerosene upstairs.
There was a kerosene heater right outside Mackenzie's door. I told you that. One right at the end of the steps there in the hallway, 2 in the living room, and one right up the top of the steps right outside her door. I've said that 100 times.
Why would you have a kerosene heater outside of Mackenzie's door, knowing that on top of it already puts out carbon monoxide? Shut up!
It was in the hallway, and she slept with her bedroom door shut because there had to be heat upstairs, period. I mean, I wasn't going to put a child upstairs with absolutely no heat. Now, that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
But I thought you said you had baseboard heaters in all the rooms.
I did. After she came to live with us, I did. We quit using kerosene heaters, and I put baseboard heaters in her room. There was one in our bedroom. There was one in the kitchen down there, and then we had the big fireplace thing in the living room and the little power heater in the hallway living room area. Yes, after she came home. But before, and I did tell you that I had just put on the kerosene about a month and a half, 2 months before all of this happened. Did I not tell you that?
Yeah, you did say that, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, and you said they are also empty, so how could there be kerosene spilled anywhere if they were empty?
Well, you know, when you carry a kerosene can from one heater to the next, and you pour it in one, and then it drips down the side and all of that, and you do that every single day, you know, the little pattern that you carry that can from one heater to the next heater to the next heater, drips all that kerosene in your carpet. That don't come out.
Okay, now if you heard her right, she said as you're carrying the can from one kerosene heater to the other kerosene heater to the other kerosene heater, it's leaking all over the floor and leaves a pattern. Remember that word, pattern.
Unless you take a shampoo, and I don't even know if it would come up a shampoo, or I'm not a professional, I don't know. But that stays in your carpet when it gets in there.
Was there carpet on the stairs?
No, there was not carpet on the stairs.
Because from what I was told, there was no stairs after the fire. I mean, it burned the whole entire stairs. You even said that.
Not too, but they didn't. They come in, they had the dog in, he smelled accelerant, and that's exactly what they went with, 100%. They didn't. I told them I burned kerosene. I said I had burned it for a month and a half, and that was it. They didn't even ask where the kerosene heater sit. They did not even care. If they would have sat and got all of the evidence and sit and went through everything, this would have never went this far, and it would have been solved. Because I guarantee, I don't know, like I said, you've seen more of it than I have, but I guarantee if you look at the pattern they've got laid out there, where whatever they've got drawn out is exactly the pattern where my kerosene heaters are. And like I said, I'll sit and you can have them draw you a map and draw you the splash, whatever, their splash patterns, and come to me with just a map of the house, and I will show you the kerosene heaters, and then you can tell me if it matches up, because I'll lay my hand to God, it probably does.
Now, if you heard what she said right there, she said if I would show her a map of how the fire marshal determined how the pattern was of the fire, she would match it up with every kerosene heater in that same pattern of where that person that poured the accelerant, because they never said anything yet if it was diesel fuel, kerosene, lighter fluid, or anything. And she says right there that it would follow the same pattern that she has every kerosene heater at. Now, if you give me a few weeks, I can find the paperwork on it, but the fire marshal's exact words was they only had one kerosene heater in that house. At the top of the stairs was one of those heaters where the water goes through the pipes and everything. And she had another heater in the front room, a little like fan type electric heater. You'll hear her in a minute her explain some other stuff about the heaters and stuff. But my question is, if you knew that your can was leaking and you knew that the kerosene heaters were bad and they spit out kerosene, why would you fill them up and light them when you knew that they were dangerous in the first place? So think about that question.
Alright, but then what? I don't understand what would have caused fire and then just set the kerosene on fire.
I told you, the tower heater that they seem to say doesn't exist, that I know for a fact was there. I just turned it on right before I went to bed. I will almost lay money the dog knocked it over. And it had a kill switch, but that obviously didn't work because it was already hot. And it fell one carpet that had kerosene on it. I mean, I don't know all the answers. I tell you, that's how...
I'm pausing again. She said that the dog knocked over a electric heater, and it's one of those types that look like a fireplace. Now, I've owned probably 3 or 4 of those. I know a lot of other people own them. Usually when those get knocked over, because they're electric heater, they have an automatic shut off. You know, the electric shuts it off. Number 2, if you ever go up there and you touch one of those heaters, they ain't hot. The outsides are not hot. The little flames are, a little spinning thing in there that spins, and it's a light bulb. But let's just say what she's saying, that the dog knocked it over, and the dog is what started the fire. Then if the dog was in the front room and he jumped off of a couch and knocked over that heater, how did that dog get out of the house but not my daughter? How did that dog get saved when the whole front of that house was on fire? And if it knocked that heater over and it all of a sudden went engulfed in flames like she says, how did that dog survive? And then on top of that, how did that dog not have any hair singed? Didn't smell like smoke? So there's another question that needs to be answered.
Heater was there. That power heater is completely 100% gone, and according to the St. Charles Sheriff's Department, it didn't have, it never existed.
Well, what time did you guys go to bed that night?
I don't know, Rick. I think it was 11:30 when I went up and tucked her in, made sure everything was okay, and checked the rabbit's cage. I don't know. That was a year and a half ago. I know all of the important things, all of the things that happened during that will not ever go away. But the little things, like one time we went to bed, we finished watching that stupid Mythbusters or whatever. I went up, tucked her in, and everything, turned all the lights off, did all of that, and went to bed.
All right, now you just heard her. She said that she went upstairs at 11:30. She was going to bed. She went upstairs. She tucked my daughter in. She checked the rabbit cage. Now, one of the things I wanted to show people is, if I can find it here, right here. Here's another story of Mary Ann. Okay, now, she went upstairs. She tucked my daughter in. She checked the rabbit cage, made sure it was locked. Okay, and the one reason behind that is because the dog that survived the fire always tried to get in my daughter's room and kill the rabbit. The rabbit is what me and my wife, Kim, purchased for Mackenzie for 4-H because she wanted to show rabbits at the fair. And here's a statement that Mary Ann has sent right here. She sent to Gary Brock at the Record Herald on 10/18/2006, which was actually one day after she got that sheriff's report. And right here, she even used from my daughter, Mackenzie Branham. First of all, I don't know how Mackenzie Branham would be able to write a letter on October 18, 2006, when she was murdered in April 27, 2006. And it reads right here, "My name is Mary Branham. I believe you have used my name in a manner demeaning to my character. In your article yesterday, you allowed Mr. Branham to slander myself and Mr. Mossbarger, and then tried to make him look incredible. The thing is, you printed lies and never failed to get the real story. Both myself and Mr. Mossbarger were interviewed by the Sheriff's Department, and both participated in a polygraph test just like Mr. Branham done, all three of which we are passed. As far as my story changing, it never has. And as far as the comment I made as to hearing my child that night, I did. The report says the child was found in her bed. It does not say she was not awakened that night." Okay, yes it does. My daughter was found in her bed, laying on her stomach. Y'all read and saw the coroner's report that she was laying on her stomach. The firemen found her foot and pulled her out from underneath, sealing debris. Okay, we all know that my daughter was not awake that night, because even in the toxicology report, if you reread it again, it states that her eyelids were closed tightly. And when they pried her eyelids open, her eyes were clear and blue, which my daughter had blue eyes, meaning she had no smoke damage at all. And if you read further into the coroner's report, it also said that her jaw was locked, that they had a prior jaw open. So I just wanted to go by that. And it says here, the child had a pet rabbit that was locked in a cage every night before she goes to bed. I assure you, it was locked in the cage when I tucked her in her bed every night because of the family dog. The rabbit was found in the bed with the child, which means the child had to climb out of the bed and get the rabbit out of the cage. All right. Now, I don't know if the fire marshal will have that in a report or whatever. It's probably in a report. They found the rabbit in the cage on top of my daughter's dresser, dead. Just the same way they found my daughter in the bed, dead. So I just wanted everyone to know that. As far as her going back to her bed sat directly in front of the side window in the bedroom. Now, right there, she just said my daughter's bed was on the side window, underneath that window. Now, in the coroner's report, he tells the same thing where the bed was. So my question is, if that child is under this window on the side of the house where there's an alley, and that alley faces as the fire trucks are coming down Walnut Street, they would see the alley first. So why, one, would Kenny put a ladder on the back of the house to try to save my daughter, where I want to show you all. Okay. Good. Okay, what I want to show you guys here, this is the back of the house. This is my daughter's bedroom window, and underneath is Marianne and Kenny's bedroom window. And you can see the black and everything where the fire come out of there and up. And this is the side, the back of the house where he put the ladder. This is the side of the house that Marianne's talking about, and this is Mackenzie's other bedroom window. And if you can see right here, there's no damage to that siding whatsoever. So why would you, if there's no fire damage right here, and here's the alley right here, why would you not put that ladder right there and open up the window and grab my daughter right off the bed? So there's what I'm trying to show to y'all. And it says right here, she states, as far as going back into her bed sat directly in front of the side window in the bedroom. I was not in her room, but I am sure that she went back to the side window, which she would have climbed into the bed to get to. Before you let someone make statements in your paper, you should really get the facts. Well, baby, I got the facts. And the facts are, you're the one lying.
Alright, now if you went upstairs and tucked her in, then you would have noticed that her bed was on the other side of the window, right?
Yes, I did say that, but I also said he was the one that went up the ladder, not me. Do you remember that whole conversation? I was over.
Now, she just stated right there, he is the one that went up the ladder. Now, if you look at, if you call the sheriff's office, anybody can call them, they will tell you, and I have another tape where they admit it, the sheriff's office, Kenny never used the ladder. He never went up no ladder, he never went in Mackenzie's bedroom. The firemen can tell you that that never happened either.
On the neighbor's door and get somebody to get up and call 911.
Now, she just stated right there, she said, I left to go knock on doors to wake somebody up to call 911. Now, this is Mackenzie's mother. Why would you leave to go get help instead of the person that you live with go get help so you're there? Because I guarantee you Mackenzie would wanted her mother, not somebody else. And so why would you leave and leave him there at the scene and you go get help and bang on doors and everything else? And here later on in the tape you're going to hear where her phone was.
Yes, that's what I have said. I told you that thing in the garage the other day. I went through everything in my head. If I would have just took 5 seconds and thought things out, everything could have been different. But in the heat of the moment and running around like that, you don't have time to stop and think. No, I didn't think about the dead being moved because I was too busy trying to get someone else and get someone to call 911.
Now, she just stated right there. She said, in the heat of the moment, you don't think about what's going on. Man, I can tell you right now, if there's 100 moms right now watching this, please send hearts. Tell me you would not have thought of your child and nothing else. And if you believe that you would think about your child, please send hearts right now showing you would have thought about your daughter. That there would not have been no hesitation there. And at the heat of the moment, you would not have forgot about your daughter. So that right there tells me how in the world would a mom run away from this fire and leave my daughter in that house.
Well, when you went out the garage, where'd you go? Behind the house to John's house?
No, my garage comes out the front. I went out the front door and down the out.
Alright, stop right there. She just stated she went out the front door. Now, I just showed not too long ago her statement, and it said that she went out the back garage door of the garage. She went out that back door. And I showed that was a lie because she stated the firemen in their report said they had a forced entry into the home. And they had to cut that door down because it was barricaded. So my next question, she just said, I went out the front door. How in the world could you go out the front door at this house? And I'm going to show you all something very important right here. How did you go out the front door? And even when she tells it, she changes her story here in a minute and says she went out the garage door. This is the front of that house. Now you tell me how she went out the front door. That's the front door. That's the garage. Every bit of that is burnt completely. Right there shows you everything. Even the garage was collapsed and everything, and that's the front of the house. You tell me how she went out that front door. And then on top of going out that front door, right there, how did she go out that front door and not have no smoke, no soot, and no injuries to herself at all?
One way to John's house. Yes, she was on. Trying to get her.
The front door.
Front door what? I don't know what you're talking about.
When you ran, you said you ran out of your bedroom, through the kitchen, into whatever you called it, some room, and then out the garage. You ran out the front of the garage or the back of the garage?
The front of the garage. The back of the garage, all I had was the doggy door.
Now, right there, you just heard. She said, I went out the garage. First, she said she went out the front door. Then she said, when I re-questioned it, she said, no, I went out the garage door because the back door had a doggy door on it. So I just want everyone to clear this. This is now, we've heard 3 ways that she went out of that house by her own admitting to it. And we also have the sheriff report where the boyfriend said that her and him went out the window together. So I just want everybody to know what's going on here.
Then the garage, the big garage door, swung the big garage door open and went out through that.
Was the upstairs bathroom on fire? Because I was always trying to figure out why Kenny never got up on the semi and up on the garage and go through the bathroom.
The garage wasn't attached. There was no way to get into the bathroom through the garage. You had to go on the back side to get into the bathroom, first of all. The window above the...
Alright, everybody, I'm sorry, you guys. I want to make sure everybody understands what's going on here as she's talking. Okay, she just stated that I asked her about the garage and everything being on fire and stuff, and she said that there was no window above the garage door. When I asked her why didn't Kenny get on the semi and go up on the garage roof and then go through the bathroom window to get my daughter out of the house, and she said there was no window up there on that garage. Now I'm going to show you a picture, and this picture right here, that's the semi right there next to the garage, right against it. And if you get on top of that garage, you're only maybe two feet from the top of the roof of that garage. Now, here's the back of the garage. I believe I see a window right on the garage roof line. Right there's the garage. There's the bathroom window. Right there is Mackenzie's bedroom window. So, yes, he could have got on top of the garage, and there's the back end of the semi, and went through that window right there. And if you notice right here, here's a ladder that the firemen put up there, and the firemen went through that window too, to put out some flames and stuff. So right there, this is her home, and she telling everybody that there was no window above that garage. And here's the garage, here's the semi right above the garage, right there's the garage roof. And like I said, I mean, you could get right on there and right to that window, and you're in there and you got my daughter.
The window on the garage side of the bathroom was not actually above the garage. first and foremost. And the garage in the front half of the house was completely engulfed. The back half of the house was not. That's why you did not think. And like I said, in the heat of everything going on and everything happening that quick, you just don't think. His first thought was the ladder was sitting right there behind her window anyway, leaned up against John's barn, and that was his first thought.
Well, why didn't Harrison said y'all had a bedroom?
Now, she just stated that when she was out back, the ladder was already against the house, already there. And in the other tapes that I eventually hopefully get and play for you guys, you'll hear her say that Kenny went and got the ladder off the shed and put it against there. Now, I believe the ladder was already there. I think it was staged and already there, and that's why the sheriff department took the ladder, put it in the back of the sheriff truck for evidence. Now, the sad part about it is the sheriff's office lost that ladder. They no longer have that ladder. They don't know where it went. They don't know what happened to it. I understand stuff gets shuffled around or whatever, but it's kind of hard to lose an 8 to 10 foot wooden ladder. So I just want everybody to know that part.
A door to lead outside in your bedroom.
I know. I had a dresser in front of it. That's what I said. I told you. I didn't think anything through that night. I ran out through the laundry room and out through the garage. He busted through a window. I didn't think about any of that. I didn't think about throwing the...
Okay, that's the end of that side. Now you just heard right there at the end, she said, you don't think about nothing. I ran through the kitchen, ran through the laundry room, and right out the garage. Like I said, but if you look at the newspaper article, her exact words was that she came into the foyer area and talked to Mackenzie. And Mackenzie said she couldn't see her because of the smoke and everything, and she told her to go to her window. She never mentions that there. She said, at the heat of the moment, I got up and ran right through the kitchen, ran right through the laundry room, and right out the garage door. So, which one is it, Marianne? Which story do you really want us to believe? So now I'm going to flip the tape over and start it from the other side.
Because I asked him, because he said y'all's bedrooms actually was a dining room. And he said that, well, Mom and Kenny's got a bedroom door right there that leads outside.
Yes, I know that. I didn't make any of it up, but here we go again with you grilling the kids and putting the kids into things that the kids really shouldn't be in the middle of.
No, I never saw the inside of your house, and I was asking the boys what the inside of your house looked like because I've never been in there. They said there was a bedroom upstairs, Mackenzie a bedroom, and there was a bathroom. And then you come down the stairs, and they said there was the front room, and then Mom and Kenny actually sleeps in what they consider a dining room. All right,
I want to hold it up right there. One thing I want to say is, if you heard her in there, she's blaming me for asking my boys and stuff. Well, here's the thing. Like I said, when me and my ex-wife separated, I only been at the house one time. So my boys always went on the weekends before she had to go to supervised visits. And when she went on the weekends, she always said, hey, you're putting stuff in the boys' head and stuff. I wasn't putting stuff in my boys went there, my boys stayed there. My children that are alive today, they knew where certain rooms were in that house. I never got a chance to see that house inside. I never got a chance to see it before they tore it down real early and got rid of the house. So I didn't understand stuff. And if people think I'm wrong for asking my sons, where was your mom's bedroom? Where was your bedroom? Where was your sister's bedroom? I was trying to figure out the layout of that house by the stories that she tells and how she ran out and how she did this. And I was trying to focus. So if it offends anybody by me asking my boys questions like that and stuff like that, I'm sorry. I apologize. But like I said, this is about Mackenzie, and I was just trying to get a view of what the inside of that house looked like. Trying to give her kind of a benefit of the doubt that maybe this is why she went this way and not this way, and why she didn't do that. But as you have heard the tape and it playing, and Marianne saying like there was no window above the garage, and we all saw the window above the garage, that the back of the house, that's why the ladder went there instead of the other side, but she knew where Mackenzie's bed was. That's the reason I asked my boys questions about the house, and because they were there, they visited their mom and on the weekends, and then so after that fire, who knew better than where everybody slept and everybody did anything. So I apologize to anybody that took offense where she says I attacked my boys and putting stuff in their heads and everything else like that. I was just trying to find answers of what happened to Mackenzie, and I believe my boys will want the same thing.
Into their bedroom, and then they said, then there's a kitchen.
Now, all you have to do is ask me. That's my whole point is when you're grilling the boys for stuff like that, you know you're grilling them for a reason. And I'm sitting here telling you right now, and I swear to it, them boys do like getting attention from Kenny, and them boys do like seeing Kenny, and them boys wanted to go see Kenny tonight. When they come home and Dad's all pissed off and Dad's all upset about it, they don't want to piss off Dad. They don't want to hurt Dad's feelings, so they tell you what they want you to hear. Just like with Nikki, when they try to tell me 100 times over that they didn't like her, yet when she bought the CDs from Mackenzie, she was on cloud nine because she got her and Marcy to make right. The kids will tell you what they want you to hear. And the kids don't need to be grilled. The kids don't need to be in the middle. If you have any questions, you should ask me.
Alright, well, you know how close me and Mackenzie were. Why didn't she ever tell me about what you talked about the calling from God, and that where she made her a grave right there beside your house?
I don't know why she didn't.
All right, everybody. What's about Marianne's about to tell? I just want everyone to know it's pretty disturbing to me, and probably to everybody else. She explains what she feels that Mackenzie was ready to go be with God. I don't think an 8-year-old thinks about leaving this world and leaving their mom and dad and ready to go be with God. So I just want everybody to know and be aware of what's about to be said on here. And to give you a little bit of focus of what it was is supposedly Mackenzie was outside and she was spelling her name with rocks and next to her cat that passed away. And I guess the mom asked her what she was doing, and she said, my daughter said that God was calling her and it was time for her to go. And I asked my ex-wife, why would Mackenzie even ask that? And she said that Mackenzie felt that it was that time. And I wanted you guys to know that this was actually supposedly happened a week before she died.
She was out there in the yard that day, and like I said, I just blew it off too. She probably felt silly about it. I just blew it off. When she was out there doing it, she's just a kid being silly. I bet you she probably had 500 rocks in my yard that day from that railroad track, spelling her name out in it. And she said, I didn't say that she said she was I, but that was my impression of it. She, in my heart, she had made peace, or she knew what was expected of her. But she laid all that out and told me she was going to be there with the cat, and I blew her off and even laughed at her. Now, to this day, I think how stupid I am, but I laughed at her. I'm like, you cannot be buried in the yard with a cat. It's illegal, and I'll go to jail for it. And she said, this is where I'm going to be. I'm going to be right here, take care of Ashley.
Why don't you take her upstairs or something so I can get this? Harrison! Yeah. I just didn't understand. I mean, I don't know. With Mackenzie, then again, she likes animals, so.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. You know how she is. I mean, there was truly, and when I say it, I mean it, there was truly something about her. You know, she was an angel from the very beginning, and I'll say that 100 times over, because there was something. I love all of my kids, but she had that special little something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, Mackenzie being 8 years old, I don't think she was ready to go see God that soon.
I didn't say she was ready. I said she was at peace. She knew. I'm not saying that she was. I'm saying 100% without a doubt, when it came time, she did not suffer. She knew where she was going, and she knew that she was going to a better place. You're not going to take that away from me. I'm not going to ever.
Now, if you heard that right there, she said that Mackenzie didn't suffer, and that Mackenzie knew she was going to go to a better place. And this is supposedly happened a week before the fire, and Mackenzie died. And I can tell you right now, if any of y'all have seen my daughter's photograph, I honestly don't believe my daughter died peacefully. And I don't believe my daughter at 8 years old was ready to go be with God. She had a lot of life left in her. She was a beautiful kid. She was a straight A student. So for her to sit there and say that Mackenzie planned this, Mackenzie knew this was getting ready to happen, and that Mackenzie was ready to be with God, and that she was peaceful, I think Marianne was in that room when she went up to tuck my daughter tonight. I believe she was already up there, and I believe my daughter was already gone before the fire was set. And I believe that was Marianne's way of saying her goodbyes before they set the fire. And because I don't see how she can stand there and tell me that my daughter went peacefully. And so I'll let y'all listen to the rest of it. She explains some more of how my daughter was peaceful.
And dwell on the fact that, I'm sure she was scared, but without a doubt, she was there with her, and she knew that she was going to a better place.
So you think she died peacefully?
I know she did. I know how special she was, and I know without a doubt that she, like I said, she was the one that was always, nobody was going to go to church with her because I wouldn't let her go by herself, and I couldn't go because of the boys. Boys wouldn't go, wouldn't sit still when they did go. If Jennifer wouldn't get up and go with her, she was mad, and if everybody suffered on Sundays if Mackenzie didn't get to go to church. I know without a doubt she understood the things that she studied at church, and she knew without a doubt that when it was her time, she was going to a better place. And I know without a doubt that he was standing there with her, and she did not suffer. He did not let her suffer. Nobody's going to take that away from me. He took her away, and there's no answer. There's nothing. Nobody can ever tell me why. But without a doubt, he did not let her suffer through it. No.
Now, y'all heard that right there where she explained why Mackenzie didn't suffer and everything. If you hear her voice as she's talking to me on the two-way and explaining what Mackenzie and she was ready to go to be with God, and that she didn't suffer. If you listen to her voice, you can tell that she's kind of breaking up, and she's almost she's almost catching herself to make sure that she doesn't say the wrong thing. And like I said, I believe she was in that room. I believe my daughter was already passed. I believe she had her time of whatever morning or whatever you want to call it. And if you look at her actions after, by standing on the porch and waiting on 20 minutes to tell the firemen that she was in the house and stuff, kind of tells you that she already knew that my daughter was gone before the fire was set.
And on that note, I'm done because I'm not going to get all upset. First of all, and second of all, just a half hour ago, you were telling me how
You was all by yourself. You were alone, and you were tired of being alone, and that's why you wanted those boys. But then they tell me William was at your house.
All right, I've got to get up and go to work at 6 in the morning, so I'm going to bed. You've done made up your mind, I guess, like I said, because, God forbid, I have 10 words with Kenny, they're done and what have you, so.
That's not what I'm asking. Does William live with you?
It doesn't matter. We done had this discussion. If you're done and I'm not going to see the boys anymore, that's fine. It's done, whatever.
Alright, there's more. It's kind of blank for a while. Then she does call me back, and we talk some more about the fire. The question I was asking her was William, her brother, the uncle, was living with her. And she finally admitted that he was, but she kept trying to, hesitate around that question. And one was because, A, he failed a lie detector test twice. B, he was the one that Paint Valley sent referrals to Children's Services where he was making my boys suck each other's chest and trying to make Mackenzie suck my boys' chest and stuff. And I showed all that as documents and everything too. So yeah, as a father, I had every right to know if her brother was living with her before I allowed her to take my boys to her house. And that's what I said. She gets so mad at me and saying that I'm keeping my sons away from them. But here's the thing. If there's a fire and my daughter was murdered in that fire, I have every right to protect my boys. Because here's the thing. If Marianne and Kenny was telling the truth, which we obviously know now they weren't, then if they was to tell the truth and that person killed my daughter, well, how do I know that person wasn't done? He probably was there to kill Marianne and Kenny. They got out, the dog got out, but my daughter didn't. So this person might not have been done and not satisfied because he didn't get the right person. So do I have every right to keep my boys at the time of my daughter's fire away from everybody on that side of the family? Yes, because I don't know who was involved. I didn't know who was the one that lit the fire and who's the one that took my daughter's life. So I have every right to protect my boys. To her, it was offensive because I wouldn't let her see the boys unless I made sure that she wasn't with Kenny, and she was. But here's the thing, too. She went to Myrtle Beach, and I was here still in Washington Courthouse. She was down there in Myrtle Beach almost a month, while my boys were here wondering what happened to their sister, why ain't their mother around, hugging them and holding them and going through their suffering of losing their sister. And she expects to come back from this vacation and all of a sudden contact me and, hey, I want to see my boys. Well, where was you when we walked away from the funeral and I took them home and you went on to Myrtle Beach and had a good time? So I have every right to protect my boys from that side of the family until the truth comes out. So I'm going to go ahead and let this play a little bit and then it'll pick back up where she calls him back.
Thank you. I have nothing to say about controlling. I don't want to control you. I don't want nothing. I mean, there's nothing. The only thing I said, like I said, and I keep going back to, the only thing I ever wanted from you, Marianne, was the truth about what happened to my daughter.
And I told you the truth all along, but the minute you got off of that fucking stand, but the minute you got off it, you were not for good, but if I want to see with the law, oh my God, you're bad. The people are not going to see you no more and everything else. If you don't have to say that you're totally controlling, it's fair. I do it. It's fair. If you want to give me any of this right thing for yourself, then we're very ahead of time with this paperwork. And the rest of my home is everything that doesn't matter. If I've got another person in my life or not, as long as they're not someone that harms me, so that in me, as well as I would never put anyone I haven't said that would harm them.
I understand that, but see, that's what I'm saying. You don't understand my point. I go by what the sheriff's department and the fire marshal said.
I did not tell you under. I just told you point blank. You're wrong. Because it's not a matter of what you're going by, what you're going by, what you're going by. It is exactly 100% the fact that I've got someone else. Before any of this ever happened, it was the same way. I had someone in my life, he didn't want nothing, he wasn't going to give me nothing, he wasn't going to cooperate. If no one's in my life, the Rick just finally gave me was giving me what I want, let's work this out together. It's not, there should never be an issue of that, ever.
If you you were dating somebody else, I would be able to let the boys every day. But like I said, when it goes back to the part of the arson part and the homicide, I did some blocks. See what you want to talk about? Why you keep cutting me off?
Alright, I'm done. I made my point. Like I said, you've got your control, you've got your ways, you've done what you want to do, whatever. So, it's that, I guess it's that plain and simple. You're not thinking about your boys at all, 100, at all. All you are thinking about is yourself. So if that's what you've got to do, then that's what you've got to do.
You still didn't answer my question. Why you cut me off?
Because I'm not going to sit and listen to you run your mouth about that night. You went up there, you have no idea. I know in my head, and I'm not going to argue with you over and over and over and over and over again. Especially if you're going back to arguing. You know, it's so funny because I was talking to the Texas boss. They told you that Kenny was normal and such, but in my eyes, 100% talking to Texas boss, you were the biggest person they were going after. They kept trying to get money to kill you. They kept trying to get money to say bad things about you. So, you know, you're getting one side of the fact, and that's fine and whatever. This is emotional hurt, whatever on that. The fact of the matter is, I got all sides of the fact. I got the way they talk to you, the way they talk on me, turn on you, but I also know they do that and play that with everybody. So I am sitting back with the whole picture. Point blank. And I'm not accusing anybody, and I didn't turn on you, and regardless, I would have never turned on you because I know you would never do that, never put your child in any harm. Just like you should know in your heart, I would never put my children in any harm.
Why is my phone doing that for? Alright, like I said, I don't want to argue neither with you. I mean, like I said, I didn't care if you saw the boys. The bottom line was, I wanted you to see the boys and just you. And you don't understand that part. You haven't seen them in over a year.
I have seen them. I see them every week. They're except for the ones that you cancel. I do see them. First and foremost, second of all, I do spend time with my boys. And third of all, you can't sit there and say, you're lying through your teeth. You sat right here and heard the conversation. I was told by her person. You can't sit there and say you didn't. You know, try to convince some about it. That's what you're doing, saying that for her. I don't know. But you knew for a fact that I was burned by his word. The boys between him. Now all of a sudden, we're all bothered by it. We're bothered by it because the boys wanted to take a life and stuff because the boys enjoy themselves and not bother you. And it should not bother me. You should be happy that there's somebody that cares about this and somebody that says would never harm and do them any harm, that would only do them good. Just like I think the same thing as him. I would never say anything bad about her or say anything bad about her because I know she loves her sister no matter what it should be. And it's just, you love her. And I would never put that away from them or tell them they have to choose one over the other. You don't do that to a child.
I don't want my boys involved in this.
You make your boys involved in it. When you tell them they're not allowed to like Kenny, and when you tell them they're not allowed to be around Kenny, you make your boys involved in it.
Well, bottom line is, like, if it was me and you was on the other side and it was my house caught on fire and it was Kim and you didn't know nothing, like I don't know nothing, and you got professionals saying it's an arson or homicide, you probably would feel the same way about your kids being around somebody else in my life that I ain't married to and don't know nothing about.
You're 100% wrong when you know that. You can sit there and say that without a doubt, whatever, but you are 100% wrong because every time you've ever said, this is it, this is it, this is it, I stood beside you because I know you would never put your children in a position like that. I know that. So I don't have to have anybody else tell me that. You know how I read the news at your ears and deeper. You know if something happened. You know how I stood in between you guys 100 times over.
Kenny with you?
No, he's at work, which is where the police came at. For a whole 2 minutes at his work. He hasn't been with me for 2 weeks. I told you that. But the fact is, not a clue. I did feel something, and I also did feel something there, and it's not bothering me all the time.
No, it don't bother me.
Obviously it does, because it bothers me enough to say that the boys weren't going to be around anymore, because God forbid I have the dealership with somebody you don't approve of.
Okay, well then, you're so smart on everything, then you explain this to me. How in the world then, and this came from your dad, how in the world can somebody wake up in the middle of the night, run out of a bedroom, bust through a window, run out of a bedroom in underwear, but have keys to every vehicle and glasses, his prescription glasses, and a cell phone?
Alright, now, I just asked her the question of her dad and about the keys in the truck. Now, if you all remember the coroner's report, the truck was running. So that meant the keys were in that truck. And her cell phone was in that truck. And please, I hope you can hear it really good. Listen to what she explains about the keys, the truck, and her cell phone.
Now let's get the fucking facts straight, dumbass. I have just out to Billy's office and give us prescription glasses, and we didn't have his motherfucking glasses. We didn't have vehicle keys. We don't have keys to the escort and the truck, because when we went out of town and we were meeting stuff, his dad would take care of our vehicle. So we had to come back and make sure spare keys to meet the vehicle. And as far as my cell phone, it was left in the truck the night before. If you remember correctly, I told you I didn't have my cell phone. I found it when we recovered the truck. Anything else?
Now, if you heard that, she said that somebody had her keys to the truck, and she said the cell phone was in the truck. She put the cell phone in the truck the night before the fire. And then she said she didn't know her phone was in there until she recovered the truck. First of all, she didn't recover the truck. The night of the fire, the firemen pushed the truck across the road. It got it out of the way so they could bring their fire truck in to fight the fire. And that same morning of the fire, they drove away in that truck. So how did the keys be in this person's possession, but they drove away in the truck? Because the truck was running. So the keys were in the truck. So nobody the next day or 2 days later or 3 days later gave them the keys to the truck, because they drove away in that truck that night and went to Kenny's mom and dad's.
No.
To be verified, Potter-Branham told you the exact same thing. I have given a representative who filled in this prescription because he had no glasses whatsoever. He had no contacts. He had nothing.
Now, she just sat right there and said that Kenny had nothing. He had no contact lenses. He had no glasses, prescription glasses, so he could see. Now, she just said that that's what he had. He had no glasses. He had no contact lenses because they burned up in the fire. Now, listen to what she says about the glasses and the contact lenses.
When you guys were at the funeral of Mackenzie, he had contact lenses in his eyes.
He has his nephew's contact lenses on, but did not. He probably didn't even have them in the whole session if you pay attention, because they irritated his eyes and went off that prescription.
Now, if you heard that, she said, I said Kenny had contact lenses at the funeral. And her exact words was, yes, they were his nephew's contacts. Now, I'm not a professional eye doctor, but I guarantee I could go probably get an eye doctor's around Ohio to state this, but I don't believe you can put somebody else's contact lenses in your eyes and see. Everybody has a different vision. So how was he at the funeral wearing his nephew's contact lenses? And he only has 2 nephews that are boys that would have been wearing contact lenses, and that's Justin Stiegels and Matt Stiegels. So maybe that's a question some of you all out there that are friends with them might want to ask them if they loaned Kenny their contact lenses. I honestly believe, no, they didn't.
Well, I thought he got his glasses, his prescription glasses out of the semi because that's where he left them at.
No, he had an old pair of glasses, but because they were like a year and a half old, it was not the right prescription. Like I said, I don't have to sit here and argue with someone right now. You can call Dr. Gray's office and verify it. He did not have his prescription glasses. They had to be replaced. His hearing aids had to be replaced. He had to, you know, you don't sit there and make all the excuses you want and try to attack him with what you're trying to do. You're trying to build a case against him and you're trying to attack him. And you're doing it all out of spite, 100%. He does everything he could that night. He does more than I was able to do that night. And I'm sorry, I can't. There's nothing I can do to change that. That's the fact of the matter. He deals with this every day of his life. He probably deals with it more than you do.
Yeah, that's really nice to say. But why would he have to replace hearing aids?
Because they were in the house also, because he has 2 hearing aids, one in each ear. He always had.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. I just asked her the question, why did he have to replace his hearing aids? And I've talked about this before, but my of how deaf he was is a little bit different than how deaf he is by her. Supposedly his hearing aids, as she's telling it, burned up in the fire.
Okay, well, most people sleep with hearing aids in their ears.
No, nobody sleeps with hearing aids in their ears. Shows how much you know. They take them out because they squeal when you lay down.
So what, you're telling me he's deaf without hearing aids?
100%. I'll have a call. I'll talk to you later.
Alright.
Alright, you guys heard it right there. She said he's 100% deaf. For Kenny to be 100% deaf, my question is, how in the hell did he talk and carry a conversation with my daughter through a subfloor with a fire and all the commotion going on, and there actually heard her say, I can't see you guys, I can't find you, and the smoke and everything else? How did he carry a conversation if he's 100% deaf and the hearing aids burned up in the fire? And not only that, he wouldn't have even been able to hear the fire trucks coming. He wouldn't have been able to hear anybody talking, anything like that. And he definitely would not have been able to hear his dog that he saved in that fire. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that mom, that boyfriend, and that dog was not in that house when that house was set on fire. I guarantee you that. And like I said, I've got 2 other tapes. Hopefully the sheriff's office finds those and they let me have them so that the community can hear those too. There's a site called
Let's Really Chat.
What is it?
Let's Really Chat. Fayette County, Let's Really Chat.
Fayette County, Let's Really Chat. There's a Susan Stephen Smith, and there's also a Pam Betts and some other women on there that think they know everything. And but you know, they don't go on my page unless they want to, you know, see something and start some trouble. They on that page told everybody that the mom was going to tell her a story. Well, we've been waiting now. That's been a couple months and we ain't heard the story yet. Now that I have the tapes and I'm letting you guys hear, I've told you guys one story right here that the mom said that happened that night. Right here, you guys just listen to it live. The mom saying what happened in that fire with the kerosene heaters and how she left the house. First she went out the front door, then I guess she mysteriously appeared back in the house and then went out the garage door and then mysteriously appeared back in the house and went out the back garage door. So I just want everybody to say, you know, as you heard her say in that statement to the Record Herald, I have never changed my story, and my story's always been the same. And I've already showed 3 different stories that she's told. I have 2 more stories that she's told. like I said, this site about Really Chat, Fayette County, Let's Really Chat, whatever it is, those women don't know nothing. They don't know what's going on or anything. But I went ahead and did your page a favor, and I played to the community Marianne's story. And you all just heard it for yourself that, you know, about Kenny wearing somebody else's contact lenses. We heard about the keys, the cell phone in the truck. She knew that cell phone was in the truck. But why did she run away from the house and go banging on doors and trying to wake somebody else up when the truck was running and the cell phone of hers was right there in that front seat? And her exact words was, in the heat of the moment, you don't think about this, you don't think about that. And I'm sorry, you think about your child every time. Your kids are the first thing on your mind if you wake up in the middle of a fire. It is not your keys. It is not your cell phone. It is not your truck. It is not your guns. It is not your hearing aids, glasses, wallet, credit cards. That is not what you think about. You think about nothing but 100% your child. That your child's in there and your child's trying to find you. And that there's a fire. And for you as a mother to run away and leave your baby in a burning house you're as guilty as the one that lit the fire. And I don't care if people have their own opinions about what I say, but you're as guilty as the one that lit the fire. You allowed my daughter to burn up in a house when I showed specifically ways that you could have saved that child. To me, every time you open your mouth and every time you say something, it shows that you did nothing but prevent somebody getting in there and getting my child. You stopped people, 3 different families that try to run down there and try to save my daughter. That they even took the time to risk their own life to try to save my baby, knowing they had a family of their own that was standing there watching their father try to go down there, and Kenny stopped them from going down there and saving my daughter. Number 2, there were so many ways to get in there and get my child out. You waited 20 minutes to tell a fireman that our child was in a house and where she was at. That 20 minutes makes a big difference when it comes to a fire. Hell, 1 minute makes a big difference when it comes to a fire. And to me, you two prevented everything you could prevent from anybody saving Mackenzie. And the only reason you would stop people and slow down the process of rescuing my daughter is because you're fucking guilty. And you're guilty. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what that other page says about me. You're not going to stop me. You're not going to prevent me from getting justice for my daughter. My daughter meant everything to me in the world. And if you heard on the tape, even the mother herself said, I know for a fact you would never hurt one of your children or do anything to your children. She knows that. But she also knows I'm coming after her. And her family knows I'm coming after her. So all you little, whatever they call them today, trolls that want to come on my page and say what they want to say and think they know everything that they know. You don't know shit about my daughter's case. But the community that loves me, that loves my daughter more than anything, knows what the truth is because they follow me. They follow this story. They support Mackenzie. They support other victims. Those are the true people that know what's going on in this case. So Susan Stephen Smith and Pam Betts, honestly, y'all can kiss my ass for all I care. You're as bad as the people that's covering this up and trying to prevent me from getting justice. Now, I've said this once and I've said it before. I've never said every cop was a bad cop, but I said that there is cops that was involved in my daughter's case that did slow down process, that did make stuff come up missing, that did make stuff disappear and destroyed stuff. So, like I said, you people that want to get on there and say whatever you want to say about me, say all you want. You're not going to stop me. There ain't nothing that's going to stop me from getting justice for my daughter. But every time I get something, I will show it to the community. I will play it to the community. I've kept my word. I've always promised to everybody that follows me in my story with Mackenzie that if I get something, I will show it to the community. And as far as I know, I've done that. I've kept my word. I have fought for my daughter, and when I've got something, I showed it to people. And when I go out there and I beat down BCI's door or the sheriff's office door and said, I want this, I want that. I'm not only doing it for myself, I'm doing it for this community to understand what really happened that night in that fire. Now, the mother talks about the kerosene heaters and everything. If you all remember, in April of 27, 2006, and if I'm correct, if you go back, I think it was 60-something degrees that evening. May 1st, which was 3 days later, we buried my daughter, and I was in a short-sleeve shirt, and my ex-wife was in a summer dress. So I don't believe it was cold enough to put 5 kerosene heaters all over the house and electric heaters and a fireplace all going at the same time in that kind of temperature of the weather. But I just read to you guys, she said there were smoke detectors. I just proved to you that her sister said no, there wasn't. And also the fire marshal said there wasn't. She also said there was 5 kerosene heaters, and the fire marshal said no, there wasn't. There was one. And that one was at the bottom of the stairs, right next to the hot spot where the fire started. If you listen to her, and if you pay attention to what she says, she said if you get the pattern from the fire marshal that shows the pattern of the fire, her kerosene heaters will be one at every one of those spots that shows that pattern. But let's give her the benefit of the doubt that it's true that she spilled kerosene all over the floor and stuff, and it splattered stuff up on the walls. Why the hell did you light them? If you knew they were bad and you knew they didn't work right, why would you light them and risk the chance of that house catching on fire that killed my daughter? So actually, your neglect right there, pretty much you just criminally put yourself, and you should be arrested and charged. You knew they didn't work and you still lit them, and if that's what Marianne really caused the fire, then you should be charged for lighting something that you knew didn't work. And for you to spill, I don't know who does that, but spills and then doesn't clean it, and they leave it there year after. If you heard her in the tape, she said for months and months and months, and years, the kerosene just kept building up in the carpet. Honestly, I think that's a lie. I don't see how you can sit in your house and smell kerosene every day, all day, and not clean it. And, but she said she wasn't a professional. She didn't know if a shampooer would clean it. And then she also mentions the diesel fuel. She said, well, if they think it's diesel fuel, why didn't they go get the diesel fuel out of Kenny's truck and test it? It just shows more and more her guilty part of what happened that night. Now you know why I'm going after her, why I'm going after the boyfriend, why I'm going after the brother. I'm not going to stop. I love everybody that supports Mackenzie. A lot of people came out to the march yesterday for all victims. One of my dear friends, Lori King, lost her sister to a domestic violence. And she came and read 2 poems, and she was there knowing that her sister was murdered the day before on that anniversary, and she still showed up to support Mackenzie and victims and abuse of other victims. And I wish more people would have came and marched. I know this Susan Stephen Smith posted on her page, I'm blocked on that page, that I am pretty much like the KKK. She called me pretty much the Ku Klux Klan. That's what this march was. She called me a narcissist. I don't know what that means, but that's what she called me. That's pretty bad that these people are going to sit there and say I bullied them, but then that's what they called me. Pretty much a Ku Klux Klan and a narcissist. So I don't know who the bully really is, but like I said, you're going to have people on her side that believes her stories. Honestly, I don't believe nothing that comes out of her mouth other than she might as well just walk up in the sheriff's office, sit down in a chair, and tell them she did it, because that's where it's going to come to. I honestly believe the sad part, like I told everybody, is where she talked about Mackenzie building her grave and a week before the fire, which I thought was kind of a little, suspicious, that a week before my daughter's murdered, she was out in their yard building her grave and saying that she was going to be with God. That's a hard one. When she told me that, it really bothered me a lot, because I don't think Mackenzie wanted to leave. She had a lot of friends, a lot of people that loved her. So I don't believe she was ready. And I don't believe if she was ready to leave, to be with God, she would wanted it to be the way it went. I don't believe my daughter wanted to die being burned in a fire. For the mom to say that she was peaceful and she died peacefully and God was there to make sure that she went peaceful, God, I don't believe would let a child burn and be standing there and let that child burn and say, this is a child of mine. I'm going to burn you, because to me that's peace. I don't see God doing that. I don't see Jesus doing it neither. But in her mental mind, God was there with her. God made sure that Mackenzie died peacefully. And when I got out of that, is I think that Marianne was in that room. When she went up to tuck her in the bed, I don't believe she tucked her in the bed. I believe she went up, kissed my daughter pretty much goodbye, and did her whatever. And then when they left, the other people that's involved set the house on fire. Like I said, I've got 2 more tapes to get. When you guys listen to those tapes, it's pretty much some of this. If you could tell, I was re-questioning her about when she was at my house, and that's what I was doing. I was asking her the same questions I asked her 2 other times. And in those other 2 times, there's, like I said, 2 stories. But like I said, I would like for her to explain to me how she went out of the front door, and you all saw the picture of the front door. The whole front of the house was gone. So I don't know how she went out that front door. Then she said she went out the garage door, slung it open, and went out it. I don't see how she did that. I don't see her going out the back door, because the firemen had to break that door down. I don't even believe Kenny went out the window. And I've explained why Kenny didn't go out the window. 1, his size. 2, his height. And 3, it was an old window pane. And if you break out an old window pane, glass stays in that window. Unless he sat there and picked every piece of glass out and then went out that window, he didn't go out that window, and she didn't go out the window with him. But right there's 4 ways they exit that house. And the one that bothered me the most, and I think will bother a lot of people, is she said that she left and ran up the road, knocking on doors, and left her baby there. My question is, if she was telling the truth, that she just talked to my daughter and told my daughter to go to the window, why did you leave? Because my daughter was going to the window like you told her to. Wouldn't you have been at that window to get her out? So we all know that Mackenzie didn't talk to her. We know definitely that Mackenzie didn't talk to Kenny, because he's 100% deaf, wears hearing aids. So we know now that story's no longer true. We also know that Mackenzie didn't go to the window with a rabbit. Even the mother admitted she made sure, for sure, that cage was locked. The way that the fireman, Ben Haven, found my daughter on the bed proved that she didn't get off that bed. The toxology and all that proved that she never opened her eyes. So we all now can take that story and tell Marianne, you're a liar. That didn't happen. You didn't talk to Mackenzie. So that story's gone. So like I said, there'll be more coming. I'm going to keep on fighting. This is the reason I fight. Because I'm the one, while everybody was on vacation and having a good time, I was thinking about what happened to my daughter. And you can tell, a lot of people say, oh, well, Donald Branham's now just starting to do stuff. If you look at this tape, me and Marianne talked, November 15, 2007. That was just a year after the fire. The other 2 tapes are even earlier than this. So I've been fighting for this from the get-go. I'm not going to stop. And if you haven't noticed by now that I have been fighting for now 11 years, and if you think by getting on one of these little Snapchat website things, whatever you want to call them, and put me down and say that, well, the mom wants to tell her side of the story. I don't think anybody wants to hear the mom's side of the story, because it's going to be a lie anyways. But you guys believe what you want to believe on these other sites that want to bash me and put me down and everything else. All I can say is God bless your souls, because you ain't no different than she is. You always got to remember one thing is to close your eyes and think about your own child. And if this happened to your child, what would you do? I guarantee you 100% of y'all would say I'd be doing the same thing Mr. Branham's doing. So I'm glad that y'all tuned in tonight. I'm glad you got to hear Mary Ann's story. One of the stories and another story I read to you. So that's 2 stories that was told by the mother. I appreciate it, you guys. I love every one of you guys that follow my daughter's story and everything, and we will get justice. I love everybody. I want to thank Christy, and I want to thank Lori King, and I want to thank Holly for the support you guys have been doing, keeping my mind straight. I want to thank all my followers, all my true friends that believe on getting justice for Mackenzie, because this is about Mackenzie. And I want to say this one more time. Please don't take it the wrong way. But Pam Betts and Susan Stephen Smith, kiss my ass. Good night.